for Batman to punch Jim Gordon the way he did, and just kind of go, is that running? I was like, that's funny. Like, that's not. I don't think it was meant to be funny like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is a show you already know, like my gram, Blerd, YouTube, Blerd, everything I do so blurred, bet you wish you so blurred.
And we're back for spoilers, the Batman. So, Crystal, why'd you hate this movie? If you haven't watched our non-spoiler review, go back and watch the last video. We had some choice words. We weren't super thrilled.
There was no attachment to any characters.
It is a 3-hour movie!
Right.
How do you not have scenes of character building in a 3-hour movie? You don't have one flashback to Bruce Wayne's past? I think we were whelmed.
You're overwhelmed. Freeze was underwhelmed. Why isn't anyone ever just whelmed?
No, you were just underwhelmed. I was whelmed. She was underwhelmed. But I want to hear specifically what your issues were, because we touched on them in the non-spoiler review. But I want to kind of break it open with our spoiler talk.
I just didn't like him as Batman. I'm sorry. Well, let me not say Batman. I didn't like him as Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
I didn't like
Is
him
it
as Bruce
because
Wayne.
of the cracked out, smoky Linkin Park look?
Yes. Maybe it's me being, I don't know. I just feel like the Playboy billionaire, he's not the Playboy billionaire. He's the Nemo kid. I can't picture him as Batman. And that was a hard time even going into this. And me trying to think outside of that and be like, well, maybe he can still pull it off. But I just didn't feel right about it. I didn't like it. I didn't like him as the character. I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I'm sure he could maybe do some roles very well. But in this particular case, I just didn't like him as Batman.
That's fair.
And more so than I didn't like, more so than I didn't like Ben Affleck. Because I didn't really care for Ben Affleck being Batman. But Ben Affleck is like a Playboy billionaire.
For me, there was only moments where it's like his delivery on certain lines, not because of his acting, but I feel like because of the tone of his voice, because he doesn't have a super deep voice. So like certain lines didn't come across as Batman intense to me. So that's where I can agree, but I don't think it's an acting issue. I think that's just that's just his voice, and that's just his stature. You can't change that. But there are a lot of things in the movie that were comedic that I don't think were meant to be. That was my bigger issue.
I mean, big epic explosion, and then here he is.
I'm Batman.
Yeah, so that scene we're talking about, the scene in the trailer where Penguin's being chased by Batman in the Batmobile, and it's like fire behind him, and Batman's walking with his cape fluttering in the wind, and even in that moment, as bad as that scene looked, I was sitting there thinking like, so this movie's so realistic that there was traffic and a chase scene.
Yes.
It goes back to why I was saying it wasn't that exciting to me, because come on, there's traffic in a chase scene.
Yeah, it went through your life.
So a lot of that chase, which is a lot of the issue in this movie, a lot of it could have been edited down. It felt like it was too long of a chase scene for not a lot happening until the very end. And in the last 10 seconds, that's where all hell broke loose, and that's where all the cars started flipping, and tens of 20 people must have died from that fiery ass explosion. So as Batman's walking like in front of the fire, which he's not looking at, because cool guys don't look at explosions. Of course. I'm thinking even then, I'm like, Batman, do you not care that you've killed at least 20 people during this car chase? Like, literally behind you, they're all on fire dying.
And for what?
Just
ask
Penguin a question and not arrest him. Didn't arrest him.
And find out you were wrong to begin with.
And did not arrest him. That's my big thing. I'm like, why do all that and not at least arrest him?
I mean, I literally was thinking about myself being in that situation where my car just got destroyed and now I'm sitting on the side of the highway. Yeah. And I'm looking at him walk cool away from explosions.
Yeah.
And then peek his head into the window like.
Like that moment where it's like, oh, this is cool, until for whatever reason it's like, Matt Reeves, who is your editor?
Cut that scene.
You need to cut shit, bro. That like it's all dope until he does that head thing. Like, oh, I see you. I see you in there.
Literally, if it cut from there and just went to them, talking to Penguin.
You didn't need that moment.
Yeah.
I get it. You grabbed him. I don't need you to actually go.
And they stuck on it too. He's just.
Yeah. But there were like a lot of weird editing choices like that. Even another moment we laughed at in the theater, where Catwoman and Batman are talking on the rooftop.
Right.
And it's like an intimate, emotional moment. Whereas this is the first time she's starting to do like hey, I'm into you for some reason. And it's like, okay, that's weird. But she walks away, and the camera holds on Bruce Wayne Batman, and then before the scene transitions to the next scene, you hear the voiceover of the news talking about, and Thomas Wayne, and it's like, wait, what?
Approved.
Yeah.
Thomas Wayne approves.
Yeah, and then it cuts to the next scene, and he's running
he
the TV.
approves of Catwoman. You making up with Catwoman? I don't know.
Whatever the plot was. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Yeah, but it was just
It was just weird because it was an intimate moment between the two.
And it cut through that scene.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't have to. You could have just kept that ADR and held it to the next scene. You didn't have to like splice it into this one.
Yeah.
But shit like that, where it was like it just took you out completely. Like, what the fuck?
So we weren't sure if it's supposed to be comedy or not.
Yeah. And
Everyone laughed at the theater, so I assume maybe it's supposed to be a joke. I don't know.
I mean, nobody clapped. That's another thing. We didn't.
Yeah.
Nobody clapped at the end.
We heard one person go.
Yeah, they tried.
And then they were like, "Oh, we're not clapping for this." Okay. And I heard another person. Oh yeah, no, okay.
Yeah. But that says a lot. We're in an early screening.
Yeah.
Early screenings are primed to be like the,
I mean,
the
you saw how
hardcore.
Spider-Man was.
Yeah.
People were doing backflips.
Oh yeah. People were hyped into that movie.
You saw that screening where the person was doing flips.
Yeah. People were cheering in our theater. And this was like, how do I feel about this? But yeah, if you go online, that's why I'm like, everything's paid, bruh. Everybody's incentivized. Just like in this movie, where all of Gotham is fucking being bribed by Falcone and the mob.
Everyone's being bribed to like this movie.
Yeah, WB's like, hey, you like this movie, right? You like it, right? You're like, oh yeah, it's the best Batman movie ever.
Well, that's what I said. You could pay me to watch it again.
Yeah.
I'll watch it again.
Here's $10. I loved it. It was great.
It's great.
It was the best.
$10 is not enough.
But so,
I
like,
wouldn't sit through this
so
movie
even the
looking
things
out.
I liked, the things that were positives, like the action choreography. Maybe that's what the distinction should have been. The choreography is great.
Mhm.
The cinematography for the action, too realistic to be exciting. Like for the fight
But
scenes,
they still pulled it off. If that was the viewpoint they were going with, I think they still pulled it
not
off.
bad. I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's bad. I think the action is still better than Nolan trilogy.
Could have been like Cowboy Bebop. With
Oh God, yes, no.
Stop punch.
The actual choreography and the execution of the choreography is solid.
Mhm.
I think it's better fight choreography, better action overall than the Dark Knight trilogy.
Right.
But my issue is, like, again, I'll take realistic Batman or I'll take fantasy Batman.
Right.
So like even the car chase scene filmed very realistic. That's why I don't feel like it was that exciting. There's traffic, but
him jumping off that cliff and
him jumping off the fucking
with his body bat suit.
well, it becomes like again, it's you don't want the fantasy Batman of he just opens his cape and it becomes like a glider that looks cool, but it's not
Did not look
realistic.
cool with that
so
shot.
instead, he pulls like a ripcord and his suit puffs up like a real thing, like a real like squirrel
Squirrel suit.
gliding
yeah.
suit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he looks like a squirrel and he jumps, and then the comedic part sets in where it's like, and it was
His head.
up. But what fucked me up was the beginning of that scene. I really liked.
I did too.
Him running to the top of the building and
then
being like,
reacting,
oh shit, I'm really high. It's like, okay, early Batman. I like this moment. But then he pulls ripcord and he becomes like a fucking puppy squirrel.
And then it gets weird.
And then the
And then
camera,
the camera angle.
yeah, it's like this face tracker cam right here, and it's like it's the angle of his body where it's like. And it's like, oh, I can't take none of this seriously. And it ends
We
dramatic.
literally laughed when that happened.
Yes, and it ends dramatic where he hits a car, he bounces, and he's injured, but it's like I can't take any of that pain seriously when you
Now
just
because
fucking
you just did that shot.
flying squirrel. Like what the fuck?
It was just the angle of the shot.
It's a
too.
squirrel man.
Yeah.
It was just the execution of the shot.
Yeah, it was.
And it's like it's so weird because so much of this movie is filmed so amazingly.
Yeah.
But like the
And then they always killed it at the end. It would be like I said, something epic, and then it falls flat right after the epic moment. Like him jumping off was exciting.
yes.
And then that shot made it funny.
yes.
And now you're laughing, and now it's no
And
longer
then you ruined
epic.
the scene. Yeah.
And
I was
it's
like,
done.
oh, okay.
The same thing with the
Even
walk away
before
scene.
that, with Commissioner Gordon and him
Talking
in the
with-
talking
yeah,
room. Now
yeah.
that's a moment where I feel like maybe it was supposed to be a little comedic,
Yeah, that one I think was supposed to
but
be
it
funny.
came off like because the tone of this movie is not comedic at all.
Right.
When you have a joke, like I like characters like
Penguin, yeah.
His
Penguin's
jokes
the only
make
one
sense.
that
But for Batman to punch Jim Gordon the way he did and just kind of go, is that running? It's like, oh, that's funny. Like that's not. I don't think it was meant to be funny like that. You know what I mean?
yeah. It was just awkward. Certain things were just awkward.
Yeah. And like those are the moments that took me out. And like when you have a 3-hour film where half the time you're looking at your watch like, oh my god, like, are we not done yet in the scene?
It just had a lot
and
of
other
dry
times
moments.
you're being taken out in random moments. I mean, maybe that's why neither of us ever felt emotionally invested in anything.
Well, they need to either do comedy if they're gonna do comedy, make us laugh at certain points if they're gonna do that. But this weird, it just didn't hit home with anything. With certain things.
That Batman punching him moment was like, I'm not sure if that was meant to be funny, but things like thumb, drive, that was meant to be funny. But I like that humor because it's the dry Batman humor from the comics. It's something that Batman in the comics.
I was fine with those type of things.
Yeah, that the best. Like those are moments where I knew were supposed to be jokes, but that punching him funny and running away, shit like that was like.
I don't know the running away part. I know it was supposed to be the conversation they were having prior to that. We know it was supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
It's the way he punched him and ran. I mean, how did you feel about the Riddler being like a Zodiac killer sociopath rather than
liked him.
Yeah.
I liked him. I mean, if you're gonna make something serious and take away, because he probably had to be the most difficult character as far as how far out his character is normally. I mean, the Penguin too. But they did a good job at reeling them in if they're trying to make a more serious movie. And he went really serious though. I mean, in comparison to the Riddler.
Well, that's why I felt like there was multiple endings in this, because first it was like the Riddler was the main antagonist, but then he disappears when you realize, like, oh, okay, Falcone was behind possibly Bruce's family being killed, so now he's the villain, and Catwoman has a thing out for him too because it's apparently her father.
And even the way they dropped that was weird.
Even that was random. But again, even that, everything was exposition. There was you saw nothing. Everything was just people talking at you about what happened.
That's when they should have did that night between Catwoman and Batman. When that should have been a confession that she made and they stayed together. Something in the sense where maybe we didn't see their connection, but that was too quick. She just threw that out and then they kiss and now they're attached.
Yeah.
How Sway?
Oh, I thought you were a criminal. I'm not. Oh, okay, I guess I'm into you now.
Yeah.
It's like,
all right, now let's kiss.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I care a lot about you and I don't want you to ruin your life. Even though I don't know anything about your life.
And also, in a world of like, yay, girl power, she didn't have much girl power. She got her ass beat immediately by Batman.
I mean, like you said, if they're trying to make it more realistic, like he was getting beat too. I did like the fact that he was getting beat at some points. He wasn't, but like you said, he's pre-Batman.
But it's not though. Like there were moments where it's like he's taking hits, okay, but how invulnerable is he? Because he'll be shot point blank with shit. Yeah. And then even when he falls
at the end, yeah.
And he bounces off the concrete. He just gets up.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I don't really understand
the level
how durable he is.
Yeah,
like, durable. Yeah. So I'm like, what is it realistic or is it not?
A Rubbermaid container.
Kinda. He'll take hits point blank from gunshots and be like, good. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It won't come up again. He won't be limping later. Like
no.
Explosion, a C4 explosion happened point
right in his
range
face. I forgot about that part.
And
that bothered me.
No markings, no dust in his face, no.
Alfred's in the hospital and life support with the same kind of explosion.
Yes. And he threw it away.
He threw it away. Batman was like close to
point
you and me.
Blank. Open face.
Yep. No metal went. He just fell asleep for a little bit, and they woke him up.
That was kind of like his version of taking like lethal wounds and she gets sleepy.
He gets
sleepy for a little bit.
It's like a video game. The meter just went down.
Even like there was you went to the bathroom actually in the beginning of the Batmobile scene. But there was a moment literally when that scene starts. It's Catwoman and Batman opening up a trunk, and they don't notice that Penguin and the crew notice them first, and they shoot machine guns at Batman. And that's another thing. Throughout this movie, everyone is spraying machine gun fire at Batman. Not a single bullet will ever hit his mouth opening. When they open up the trunk or whatever, the guys fire on them. Because Batman's not looking, he gets completely like showered in bullets and he goes down. And there's a moment of tension where Catwoman's taking cover and she looks over and he's knocked out. Like, oh, he got actually hit. Maybe he got hit by an actual bullet. Like maybe it hit somewhere where there's no armor. And then cut to the Penguin and them come around the car and he's gone. And then he's in the Batmobile.
Okay, that part I went to the bathroom.
Yeah, you came back.
Yeah.
When he was already in the Batmobile.
Yeah, I had left when he hit the ground.
But that never comes up again. So like, what knocked him out to the point where he was on the ground, but then he just recovered?
I figured I wouldn't miss much with some Archie shots. I don't know if anything else happened.
You know what I'm saying? Like he just falls asleep for a little bit.
Yeah.
Wakes up.
Takes a nap.
Now he's better. it's like in an RPG where if you sit,
You heal.
It's like the Southern families when they tell you to take some Vicks Vapor Rub and some Tussin and take a nap. You'll feel better.
You heal.
I broke my arm. Take a nap. You'll be fine.
Yeah, for as much damage, it's another thing. For as much damage he took, again, realistic.
Yeah.
Dark Knight was realistic, where he was Batman for like a year.
Yeah.
He couldn't be Batman anymore. He was so fucked up.
Yeah,
Like, he was getting.
He literally got
stabbed.
his back broken and had to.
Even in the second movie, he was getting stabbed by knives, and like literally that became a plot point where it's like, I need better armor because I'm getting stabbed. This shit sucks.
Yeah.
This Batman took more hits than Dark Knight Batman ever did, but there was never a single moment where Alfred had to patch him up or like he showed him like in pain.
Mm-hmm.
Never. It was just, I'm good. I'm better again. Like I don't get it. Even at the end with the adrenaline shot,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I didn't.
he
Get.
got shot point blank to the point where he couldn't move anymore.
You couldn't even help her.
Couldn't even get up.
Nope.
Take some adrenaline.
I'm fine.
I'm gravy.
And I thought he was gonna collapse again afterwards.
Yep.
I
No.
thought he was standing. I was like, okay, he's gonna have to sit down. Nope, he was fine.
But we had 3 more endings we just had to get to. So we had.
Oh, yeah.
We had to get to the ending.
That was
of
ending
him
number 2?
Helping the people.
That was ending number 2.
Yeah, that was ending number 2.
Yeah.
The third ending is him helping people in the water first.
Yeah.
And then him helping more people on the
On the
rooftops and the planes.
Yeah, it was
him becoming
really-
justice and hope
Yeah.
like Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fourth ending is with him driving Fast
Away.
and the Furious style with the Catwoman.
How awkward is that? You
It's
said our
been
goodbyes
a
and then.
long road without you, my friend.
You'll always be with me.
I'm like, bro, this is a 2-minute scene of just watching them drive together side by side.
Yeah.
I get it. I told you before it happened. I was like, they're just gonna drive apart. I get it. That's the visual metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the moment they ended on. Did you feel like that was like the
No,
moment to
but they
end the
kept
movie
doing
on?
those fake endings. But I wouldn't have thought that would have been the ending.
I didn't feel like Catwoman was so integral
Important enough to him.
to be the like, oh, this is what it all led to, us splitting up. Like, really?
Yeah, nah. They
How
didn't
about
have a
you end
relationship.
on checking in on Alfred, who's still in the hospital?
Not
Nah.
important enough either.
Nah, he got one scene. He's good.
Oh man.
But yet, things
Yeah.
like the Riddler, I like their scene. And I like that they were playing on things like the Hush comic, where they
Yeah.
almost did it where it was like in Hush,
We was revealing it.
yeah, Riddler knows that Batman's Bruce Wayne, but
Yeah.
he doesn't tell the world.
That was great the way he did it though. That I liked.
In the
That's
comic
the
or in
thing.
this?
In this. The way he just kept saying Bruce Wayne.
Bruce
Wayne.
But then but I liked it, but then I almost felt like it was a cop out when it was like, yeah, and we almost got him, right, Batman? And he's like, you can see, and I know that's the point, but it's almost again comedic where you see he's all depressed looking at first. He's like, oh god, it's over. He knows I'm Bruce Wayne, and then when he says that shit about like, oh, so we couldn't get Bruce Wayne, right, Batman? He's like, oh, yeah, that's right. We
Then he
did
becomes
it.
me.
And, yeah, he's me.
You suck.
You suck. You're a piece of shit. You can't.
You didn't know how to do anything right.
It's like,
This is not how it's supposed to end. What do you mean?
yeah, but it's like stuff like that where it's like, yo, really? That's what we're doing. But I did like that actor. His portrayal of Riddler made him interesting.
Why did Batman do that though?
I almost would have rathered none of that extra no man's land, and guess what? It's a lot of comic stuff in this.
Yeah.
So that whole ending with Riddler blowing up the water reservoirs, whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
and flooding Gotham, that's like straight out of No Man's Land in the comics, where basically Gotham, and then they kind of also touch on that in Dark Knight Rises, where they make Gotham to like a quarantined, like sequestered off military state from the rest of the country.
Right. Yeah, they said that at the end.
Yeah, so that could be where they're going in the sequel.
Oh god, more of this.
No, I am looking forward to a sequel. I feel like if
Okay.
they make some changes, if they keep the pacing tighter, if they give it some emotion, it could be a great movie. But for the Riddler, I just felt like his portrayal, or rather, if they had gotten rid of a couple of those endings after he got caught, I actually was expecting and wanted to see a conversation between him and Batman at the coffee shop. Like, I thought that's where he was going to be like, hey, I know you're Batman, but I ain't gonna tell nobody. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
that kind of thing, but nah.
I'm still with it.
I guess
That
the
was
trailer
the way they
moment,
did
like,
it.
why even have that cafe scene.
I don't know.
Mm.
I mean, it seemed like it would have been an epic scene to have that happen there,
It seemed
rather
like that's
than
why
just them putting the question mark on in the cup. Like, what was the
Who's
point
that
of
even
that?
for?
I don't know.
Look at the cup.
Oh, the waitress is gonna come over. No, I don't know. Why was he? I guess he was just so turned off by the fact that he was inspired by Batman. The reason why he started acting that way to, like he was like, no,
Oh,
we're
why
not.
get mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
He
that.
got real.
I felt like that was. I
For
thought it was
someone that
two
knows your
things,
secret and has been dangling around, it's kind of a weird thing for you to.
but because I guess he felt safe knowing that he didn't know the secret, so he
But
went
did he, or did he not?
toward the end. It made it seem like he didn't know.
They
Which
kind
is
of
stupid.
played
It
with
was
it.
like, how do you have all that information and yet
And
that's the
emphasize
one
on
thing?
it.
Yeah.
I thought he was emphasizing on it, telling him he knew the secret, and then let the camera know. Like the because they were being watched. That he saw the camera was watching. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you a secret.
That would've made sense.
That's kind of how I took it.
Nope.
But then I was questioning. I'm like, does he know it or does
Nope.
he not know it?
He doesn't know. I thought they were gonna go in the direction of
I mean,
like,
he
oh
wrote
shit,
it on
we're
the
gonna
wall.
Iron Man this? Or we're
He
gonna like
wrote it on the wall. Then he had pictures of Bruce Wayne. I guess.
no,
he
he
just-
had pictures. He was just like, who is Batman? And just
And it
you
just
know.
happened to be a
because
picture.
because we know we read
Yeah.
the association, but again, he's so fucking smart, but yet he didn't make that connection.
That's
the
weird.
random thug can be like, oh, you look familiar, but this guy who's like a super genius kid,
Yeah.
I was like, it would have been and it would have been really ballsy to pull an Iron Man in the first Batman reboot movie of like, no, his identity is
I
out.
have another question too.
What's up?
When he played the video, when they got into the Riddler's apartment, you remember he discovered the floor? He pulled the carpet up.
Mhm.
Why was that video just discovered at that very moment?
I forgot why he went back to the apartment.
But not even why he
Oh,
went
it's
back. The police
because-
were there. Everybody was there, and they all had left it because there was no more evidence. Why did he just all of a sudden go to the computer and just play the video? Was it explanation is the reason why no one saw that video before?
Well, it was because. Oh no! I can't remember the order of events. The video itself he could only get to after he got the password from pulling up the.
Oh, the
carpet.
password was on the rug.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I forgot what made him realize what the password was. But see, that's like the mystery, like breadcrumb following shit. That like if I were to rewatch it again, it's like that. All that shit is useless.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, all that is like a big runaround to get to the point.
Right.
And once you know the point, all that stuff is just superfluous.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't need to go back and go like, okay, how did he figure out the password for this and how do you?
I definitely wouldn't watch it again.
Like, all you gotta know is his motherfuckers were corrupt. Everybody was in Falcone's pocket,
Mhm.
and his dad made a bad choice by making a deal with somebody who couldn't be trusted.
Right.
That's it.
End
Mystery
of story.
Yeah.
And that
and
was
Catwoman's
Batman.
dad is the white guy because like, and I don't know, is that progressive? Or is this now becoming a trope of like the reveal of someone's parentage is now a surprise because they're opposite race? Because
No, I didn't think that.
I immediately got the same beat from Spider-Man: Homecoming, where it's like the big reveal of like you would never guess Liz Allen and Toombs Vulture are related because he's white, she's black. And the same thing with this, you'd never assumed that Zoe Kravitz, Catwoman, was related.
Well,
to
I mean,
Falcone.
whether she was
You
black or
assumed
white, I
that-
wouldn't even think either way.
Well, the way they played it, they made it seem like maybe they hooked up or
I
something.
thought they hooked up
Yeah.
or something like that had happened. I didn't think that they were
related.
related.
But that was the
I mean, even if she was white, I wouldn't think that they were related. I would still think they probably hooked up. Same scenario.
I understand that, but I'm saying
Because-
it's a surprise.
Right.
The surprise is because, but she's black and he's white.
No, I don't think that's what it was.
That's definitely what it was.
I don't think so.
Why is it like why?
I just thought it was.
It could be both,
Mm.
but it's definitely that's also a factor. And I'm not even gonna give. You know what? I'm not even gonna give Hollywood the benefit of the doubt. They copy shit, and the fact that they just did that in Spider-Man: Homecoming. You don't think they're looking at that like, oh, that's a good surprise. You couldn't guess that, could you?
I mean, I would never think that to begin with.
That's the point.
I mean, whether she be white or black or any nationality, I wouldn't have thought that.
Mm.
So, I don't know. I wasn't even really feeling that storyline like that.
No, because they didn't give you again. All the backstory just came from her exposition, her just expositing the Batman, and how as a kid And like it's just talking, just okay. Like
Right.
I'm listening to your backstory. I'm listening to your relationship. I'm listening, but I'm not seeing any of it. I'm not seeing it happen on screen, so I have no connection to it.
Yeah, I didn't even really. I mean, I liked her appearance wise as far as Catwoman, but it was
She looked
nothing
the part.
really. Yeah, but it was really no connection with her role that reminded me anything of Cat. Like if these characters all had different names,
Really? I
her
feel like
nails.
the characterization of Catwoman and Batman were spot on to the comics. It's just there was no substance to it. It was just like
Listen, if you got rid of the costumes, I would think it's some other kind of movie.
like,
I'm saying if you get rid of the names, whatever, you just made it a different movie, I wouldn't make the association.
I mean, speaking of Falcone, what a weird casting choice. The guy from Transformers, the funny guy. He's been in other things too. I can't.
There's
He's
good
always
casting for
funny.
this movie.
He's always comedic in things.
He is.
Yeah. So to have him be like
Didn't see it
technically a main
coming.
villain, it's like
Yeah.
good actor. Though. I think he's a good actor.
He's a good actor. It's just hard to see him play that particular role.
I think in that specific case, it's more just because I've seen him be
In other things,
Yeah,
it'd be
be
funny.
comedic too many times and other things.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like I'm getting older. Fuck it, I gotta be a villain now.
Yeah, I guess he can play a villain. I mean, it was just weird seeing him play that character for me, though. I don't know. This movie overall.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that both of us come out of this movie not loving it. You know what I mean?
I mean, I didn't think I was gonna love it, to be honest with you, going in.
I know you didn't. So that's why I was like, nah,
Yeah.
you're being pessimistic. You're probably not gonna like it. But I went in fully expecting to love this movie. I'm coming off the high of No Way Home, and I Matt Reeves movies are good. I think he's a great director. But I it's just a choice in tone and execution I just didn't agree with in this. And it's just so conflicting because there's so many elements I really did enjoy, but so many small things that took me out. Even down to we're making jokes about the different voices in the movie.
That was ridiculous.
Some of the actors in
Yeah,
this,
see?
yeah, like literally, basically actions like that one guy sounded just like fucking what's his name?
There's a couple of characters.
Marlon
that had that.
Brando, like. I'm gonna make you happy. You can't refuse, Batman. The commissioner.
That was the commissioner.
Yeah, the commissioner before Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
Like, where's this
You really vouching for this guy.
You
Why-
really vouching for this guy. But and a couple of side characters have voices like that.
Yes, that's
I'm
the reason
like-
why I was so confused about the timing. I'm like, what time zone are we? When was it?
Just weird acting choices. I don't even know how to explain that. Like, just things
maybe
that
they're trying to do New York accents
maybe that's
because
what it's supposed to be.
I mean,
It felt very like Marlon Brando 1940s. Like,
people somehow confuse New York with those heavy Italian mafia accents
yeah.
all the
And
time.
there was a couple, not just him, but there was a couple of cops that also had weird voices.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
they
like-
were trying to do a New York accent, like they're all from New York, and they speak like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a New York accent, but
I don't know, but
I don't sound like the guy.
how often have we complained
Goodfellas.
about side character voices in something? Like, you know
I
what
mean,
I mean?
it just seems so out of.
This is not
whack.
us just nitpicking. I don't think it's just us just being like,
No, it was noticeable to the point where we laughed.
yeah, both of us.
Yeah.
So, like,
By the third or fourth sentence, I'm like, come on, this has got to be a joke. Why I think you're talking like that?
just so weird because it's like the editing in places was so tight and so tonally on the same page.
And if they
But
had
then
did-
just these moments of insanity.
It's
Like
just
I don't
because
know.
they didn't-
It's like someone else ran into the editing room and was like, I'm gonna be an editor. And they ran out and everyone's just like, hey, come back. Like,
and they left it like that.
yeah, like, oh, well, it's gotta
We
go out
didn't catch
tomorrow.
it.
Yeah.
We didn't catch it. It's already done. It's too late now.
We gotta send it out tonight.
Hey, bro, did you forget to cut out that lean shot? Yeah, it's already there. Leave it. Leave it alone.
Leave it, I guess. It's like, what?
He looks a little weird in his flying squirrel shot. You know, it's alright. People won't notice it.
Yeah, we know this.
I can't wait to see the collage people put together of all the odd moments in this film.
Maybe it's just us. 'Cause
No, I don't think it's just
I
us.
haven't watched or read any reviews yet. Everything I've seen before we watched it was just glowing. So I'm like, oh, y'all got paid. There's no way.
I guess you know when you have the comments.
I guess. We'll find out.
Yeah.
But those are our thoughts for the Batman.
The Batman.
Unfortunately, I wish that I was more positive on it. No Way Home was really good, though. Go check out No Way Home.
That's how you do a movie.
Yeah. Team Spider-Man. All right, but yeah, let us know what you guys thought. Are we being too hard on it? Did you love it? Are we being assholes? Like, I would genuinely love to hear people who defend it.
Well, you're gonna hear people who are gonna defend it.
For sure.
Yeah.
We're gonna be called haters.
Yeah, it's the anesthetic of the film, and that's how it's supposed to be. Yes, those were jokes.
Did you ever read a comic, bro? Just like the comics. It's like,
Yeah.
well, I love comics too, but
Didn't like it in live action.
not 3 hours. Doesn't take me 3 hours to read a comic, bro.
I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna say it's horrible, but it just wasn't. Cause I didn't say blurry vision. I didn't take it all.
Poor vision.
Sorry, poor vision. But yeah, it's not something I want to watch again, and that's if I don't want to watch something again, then clearly I didn't care.
There are like 3 action scenes I want to watch, and they're like 10 seconds long. They're not long. Like, the actions they were just set. Like honestly, you might have seen every fight scene in the trailers, like a clip of each fight scene. And at the time, I thought like, oh, it's supposed to be a lot of fighting.
I mean, even the trailer was very slow.
I purposely tried not to watch trailers.
The trailer I saw originally was the funeral scene. They played that whole scene in the trailer. You didn't see that? It was like a 4-minute trailer, and it was that whole scene.
Yeah, I definitely.
The whole entire scene. You saw the car go in. You saw him come out. That's the reason why I knew exactly what was happening at that part of the movie, because I was like, oh, this is the trailer, the whole entire scene.
I've learned to watch less and less trailers as time goes on.
And I was cringing that whole entire trailer. I was like, this is what the movie's gonna be like? This is so weird. So, yeah.
Okay, well, that's it for this episode, or this review of Blerd Vision. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye.